Okay, so this video what I'm going to show you is how to set up your first pupil. Alright, so in the diary you go to, surprise surprise, the add new pupil page, and this is really simple. The first thing you do, create a login, and this is, remember, what they're going to log in with. Okay, so you really want to make it something fairly obvious. You don't set a password here, the system sets one and encrypts it. That's sent out to the pupil. Okay, so that's done as an automated process. So as a login, now I'm going to set myself up here. There we are. Put my basic info in. It really isn't complicated. I've set this up so it really is easy to get your pupil in there, and once they're in the system then you can start mucking around with bits and pieces. You need to put ideally a mobile number in if you want to send them a text message with the info, and you do want to put an email in there as well, because then you can click these and send them either an email and or a text message. Text message, again, you need to make sure that you've actually got some credits in there in order for that to work. Okay, so if you click on those, it will send the info. You might not want to send it at that precise moment, so that's why you can opt not to send them, which is the default here. So if you wanted to send the email at the same time, you just click on there and then click the add new pupil, add pupil info, sorry, and there we go. That pupil would then be registered. So when you go to the your pupils page, there I am there. Okay, now just quickly, the time off which shows by default here, this is you basically. So if you want to book a bit of time off, whether it's, I don't know, to the dentist, or you just fancied a couple of hours, or whatever it happens to be, you can do it by using this time off pupil from the list. Okay, that marks it on the pupil's diary simply as an unavailable lesson. It's as simple as that. But you can put notes on things, you know, to tell you what why it is you've actually booked it off, just as a reminder for you, etc. Okay, so that's what the time off is for. So if you click on the pupil and click on the button there, you'll then get the pupil info up down here. Okay, so you see this is obviously the details that we put in previously. So you can then add to that. Firstly, it's the address. So this is the main address where you would actually be picking them up from by default. Okay, so that's normally going to be their home, but you know, it's really down to the individual pupil. So you need to put in that as the main address, but you can have two alternative addresses as well. So you could put that in, label it as work, and then put in, there we are, that's where I work, the office. Okay, but you can have up to two, and when you're booking a lesson, or when your pupil books a lesson, they can specify where they want to be picked up from and dropped off at. Okay, so that's all done at the lesson booking phase. You can change that yourself, the pupil can't. Okay, the reason being, of course, you don't want a pupil that you've planned your lessons based on the fact you're going to be picking them up from here and dropping them off there, and then suddenly they change it and they want dropping off the other side of town, and you've not left enough time to get to your next one. So that can throw your diary out. So you need to be more in control of this. Okay. Now underneath here we've got some of these elements here have no bearing on any information within the diary while the pupil is learning with you. It's only used afterwards. So for example, the gender makes no difference at all, but when you archive the pupil off, it records that, it not against their personal info, it just says, right, okay, you had a male pupil who was this age based on their date of birth, which is what you put in next. So let me put that in. And he was a visual learner, for example, and had dyslexia. You know, whatever it happens to be, those things, they're not recorded against personal information when you archive the pupil, but it can build into useful information afterwards. Okay, so that's what a lot of these are for. You've also got things like the learner style, which I'll show you in a different video. When you're looking through your lesson program, so i.e. the lessons that you've got coming up in the next few days, it will actually have this information next to each pupil, so you can better plan those particular lessons. It gives you more of a prompt. You can put in here their provisional license number if you want to. That is encrypted, and so is the theory test certificate number. The theory expiry date you can set, and that will flag up when it's coming up to expiry. So you can either say to them, look, you need to really renew it, you need to go and do it again, or look, if we get your test booked in time, we can get you through it and you won't need to do it. But it's just a bit of a warning for you there. In the auto reminder settings, you can actually set this. For example, if your default on any of the automated notifications is set to on, so let's say you've set it to email them, it will email all your pupils the day before their lesson. If you set that to off, it won't bother emailing this pupil. You might know, for example, this pupil never checks their emails, so there's no point sending it. So you can just switch that to off. It's no big deal if it does go through, but it's just an option that's in there. Okay, so once you've saved, or once you've made those changes, you then just need to save it, and you'll see that information has been put in there. And then these options at the bottom, you've got email login or text login, which obviously do what it says there. You click that, the email login, and it will just email them their login information. Okay, set prices. That's something, if you're setting your prices in the site using the accounting system, and you can actually set a specific price for this pupil. Okay, so that that you may decide that you're going to do a quid cheaper, I don't know, because they've been with you longer or whatever, or your prices have gone up since they started and you want to keep the price the same for them, then you can set that here. You can also set notes, either shared notes to be displayed on the pupil's progress page, or private notes which are just shown to yourself and nothing more. Okay, so that can be set there. So that is the basic pupil info.